Hey everyone, and welcome back to Ontario Cryptids. Happy 4th of July to all my American viewers and subscribers. I hope you all had a great long weekend, and I hear that some of you get the whole week off. That must be really nice. If you've been enjoying the content, why not take a quick second to hit that subscribe button? By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the latest episode, and you'll be joining a community of like-minded individuals who share your interests. Let's keep this journey going together. Thank you for your support. If you have an encounter story that you would like to share, then please forward your stories to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story with like-minded people. Now sit back and relax as we begin with today's episode. For this first Reddit account, it takes place in 2023, but the location is unknown. About a year ago, I used to work at a restaurant as a dishwasher. Anyways, I was at work alone at night washing dishes after everyone else left. As I was washing the dishes, the restaurant phone rang, so I checked to see who was calling, and the display said my name and my phone number. This freaked me out because I checked my phone to see if somehow I called the place, but no, my phone wasn't ringing at all. I even checked my recent calls and there were no calls saying that I called today. I didn't answer the phone because I was too weirded out to answer, so I just let it ring. My boss came in to finish my shift, and I even told him about the weird incident, but he didn't care or was too tired to listen. Does anyone know what happened to me that night? So this next one takes place on June 2024, and it's in Lincoln County, Kentucky, and it takes place somewhere on the Green River, which is also known as the Kentucky River. For some background info, me and a couple buddies went fishing. We hit a couple spots that we haven't been to before, and we didn't catch anything. So we went out to our typical spot, and it's basically in the middle of nowhere. It's a small creek that connects to the Kentucky River, and we're out there for about an hour. Nothing weird's going on, and no sense of fear. Then suddenly we hear this screeching noise. And no, not like someone yelling in the distance. Imagine a giant mosquito, and I thought there was just a bug near me, but then my buddy sitting in the car 40 feet away also heard it. So whatever it was loud enough to cover that sort of distance. A few seconds later, a weird, almost banging noise like something big and metal falling. And for instance, we are in the middle of absolute butt-F nowhere, so I'm just super tripped out. We suddenly realized we needed to leave. I've been trying to find a story that relates to this, but no one seems to have heard a noise like that I could find. This was around 12 at night. This one takes place somewhere in Southern California, and the date is unknown. My husband and I were on a hike in SoCal years ago. We both had this heavy, creepy vibe of dread, but neither of us was talking about it. The hike was down some stairs, but overgrown weeds and plants had grown up, almost making a tunnel. My sense of dread was building, but I thought I was being silly. The weather was cool, lots of cloud cover, and we had seen no one else on the trail. I was following behind him when he suddenly stopped and put his hand up. We froze there for what felt like forever, but it was maybe about a full minute. He turned to me and quickly and silently gave me the sign to run. I have never ran so fast before and was dying for breath at the top of the hike. We finally stopped and caught our breath. I asked him what the heck happened and why we had to run out like that. He then told me that since we got there, he had this feeling of dread, but felt he was being silly. I told him I had been feeling the same way. He said that we were walking and he heard a metallic sound, like someone dropped a metal trash can lid. He said the way it sounded was like someone made the noise accidentally and then tried to be quiet, hoping we didn't hear them. He said that he felt like someone was there and didn't want their presence known. We returned about a month later on a bright day when people were out. We didn't get any feelings of dread and had a really nice hike. Not sure what was out there that day, but that feeling of we shouldn't be here was one I don't want to experience again. So this one takes place in July 2005, and we're going to Murray County, Oklahoma, and the nearest town is Davis. A friend and I were hiking near the Turner Falls area of Oklahoma on July 10th. We ventured off a bit into the mountains, there to get away from all the tourists swimming in the pool. As we began climbing the mountain, we began to notice a foul smell. It smelled like old, crusty, dried-up urine mixed with rotten wood and musk. It's kind of hard to explain, but the odor was bad enough that we made several comments as we climbed as to how it's making us gag. However, the smell would come and go. It was not constant, and we found that a bit peculiar. However, we really didn't think anything of it because although we were in a pretty remote part of the park, we thought it was probably just the campers or other hikers. At one point near the top, we stopped to rest and test our blood sugars. We are both diabetics. And the smell blew in again. We started to look around to see what could be causing it. I spotted a tree, a type of pine, that at about 6.5 feet up had been twisted completely around and snapped down. I immediately pointed it out to my friend, who is also quite the Bigfoot enthusiast, and we began discussing that because of the thickness of the tree, the height at which it was twisted, and our remote location, we didn't believe that had been done by some hikers. For one, I don't know anybody strong enough to do that. Also, we noted that it wasn't wind that did it because it looked somewhat fresh and the trees surrounding it were fine, as were their branches, and there were no wind that day. As we began to look around, we spotted several more branches, both thick and thin, that looked the same, twisted and snapped down. Hikers could have done some of them, I suppose, but the majority of them were on branches or trees too thick for something without very large hands and powerful strength to break. Interestingly enough, the first break I noticed looked almost identical to the picture of a tree twist on the NAWAC website under the Habitat section. My friend then looked to our left, down a bit from us, and said, "Look at that." There we saw several large branches that had been twisted and pulled down, though still connected to the tree, and laid almost on top of each other, with mud and smaller sticks caked into it. This looked very similar to the nest pictures that the NAWAC has on their website. In fact, when we returned later that night to our house in McKinney, I got on the internet and pulled up the picture of the 3 twists and nest on the NAWAC website and showed them to her. Her response was, "That's it. That's what we saw." After seeing all of this, we began to feel a little out of place, so we got really quiet and a little scared. At that point, that smell blew in again and suddenly it hit me. Could it be a Bigfoot? The thought had honestly never crossed my mind before we saw the tree breaks. So, tired and pretty freaked out, we left the mountain and began to hike back down to where there were people. I did, however, take pictures of the tree breaks and the nest. Unfortunately, leaving my camera in the car for a couple of days in the intense heat, the film got warped and many of the pictures did not come out. However, a picture of the first tree break, which caught my eye, did turn out okay. Not hearing any noises or seeing anything, and understanding that while we were off the beaten path, we were still in an area that has heavy foot traffic. I have not ruled out the possibility the culprits were campers at all. However, due to the remarkable similarities in what we saw that was on the website, the fact that we were in a heavily forested area with low human population in an area surrounded by water, semi-mountainous, the smell which smelled almost exactly like every description I've heard of them smelling, and hearing that Bigfoot has kind of an infatuation with campers, especially their food, I cannot rule out the possibility that we may have stumbled into a habitat of a Sasquatch. I am not crazy, nor is this a joke. I am also never quick to jump to conclusions about tree breaks, but this one truly got my attention. I'm wondering if anybody at the NAWAC has heard any tales of Bigfoot near Davis, Oklahoma, in the Archbuckle Mountains. Well, that's going to be it for today. I hope you all enjoy these encounter stories today. Before I acknowledge our current OC members, I would like to wish you all once again a happy 4th of July weekend. Okay, I would like to thank Elizabeth, Jim, Diana, and Teresa for their contribution and support as a member of the OC community. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. If you wish to learn more about the OC membership program, you can check out the membership video to get a detailed description of all the perks you will receive. Don't miss out on the adventure and become a member now and join us today. If these stories remind you of an encounter that you may have had and would like to share, then please forward them to OntarioCryptids@gmail.com. I would be honored to share your story on this channel. Thank you all for listening until the end. I truly appreciate it. Please hit the like button on your way out and smash the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Have a wonderful long weekend, and we'll see you all next week right here on Ontario Cryptids.